Hello my friends, I wanted to talk about ARCs. I have been reading quite a few ARCs recently. It's a new thing I'm trying. I think it's so much fun. I get them on NetGalley, and if you guys are interested in a video about how to get ARCs on NetGalley, let me know. Love to do that. I had no idea what I was doing when I was starting. In case you're unaware, ARCs are advanced reader copies, and they are just books that haven't been published yet that the publisher gives you ahead of time so that you can leave reviews, so that when they are published, people kind of know what they're getting into. I just think it's so fun to go into a book without any prior knowledge or expectations for the book. I pick them based on the cover and the description, and sometimes if it's an author I recognize. I of course don't get all the ARCs that I request. I've only been doing this for a couple months, so I don't have a bunch of street cred on NetGalley, but I've still definitely been getting some books, and I want to talk about the ones that I have read. If you guys are on NetGalley, you might know that they recently changed their file type, so you couldn't get them on Kobo's, but they updated it recently, so now it is integrated and you can get them. Oh, so exciting. Before that, you had to read them on your computer or your phone, which was not my favorite way to do it, but I still did because I thought it was fun. Most recently, I read The Compound by Rawle. So I picked this one because the cover is so pretty. This is a vaguely dystopian novel about this girl who's on a reality TV show. This TV show is kind of like Big Brother meets Survivor. They're all super hot, and there's a big TV in the living room. And every day there's a new task on there, and the tasks are things like tell each other everyone you've ever slept with, and they have to go through, say the task, and then they get a prize. When they start, there's no food in the house, and they have to complete tasks to get food, but as the show goes on and people leave, the items that they win are so much better. There's one that's a hot tub, and it turns from necessities to luxuries. They also have individual challenges that are either made to stir up drama in the house or embarrass them. So when they complete the mini personal tasks, they get personal prizes. So our main character, her first prize is a comb, and I think she got it by talking to one of the other contestants or something like that. But as it goes on, the tasks get sometimes a little bit more uncomfortable, a little bit crazier, and the prizes they get much better. So before, she got a $2 Conair comb. It didn't say Conair, but you know what, I have it. One of these, that's what I was thinking, a little Conair comb. But as it goes on, she ends up getting diamond earrings. The reason I say it's vaguely dystopian is because some fucked up shit happens in the house. They nearly let them starve. And it's goes way farther than any reality TV show would go now. People get hurt, severely hurt, and they're allowed to fight each other by the end. And there's also vague mentions of war that's going on. It sounds like people are just getting drafted for this mysterious war. And I thought that was a fun little backdrop. It tells you why people would be desperate enough to go on the show. There's also a little bit of commentary on living in a capitalist hellscape and finding no joy in a career and feeling you're stuck just doing things to survive and not being able to enjoy things. And then there's also a little bit of commentary about how money doesn't buy happiness, but it is still nice to have things. I also like that our main character was hot, and that was her whole thing. She wasn't on the show to make a big statement about how terrible the show is, how it exploits people. She wasn't there to create change. She was there so she didn't have to work her makeup counter job, so that she could live somewhere else for a little bit in this nice luxurious house, and so she could maybe become an influencer after, and you get to take home as many prizes as you can carry. And she's yeah, and then I'll have all these nice things. And that, her mind was not changed. There were people in the show that were talking to her being don't you think this is maybe a little bit bad? And she's I'm benefiting from it, and I'm getting exactly what I want out of it, and that's all there is to it to me. And I liked that. Not everything has to be a grand statement. This was by far my most successful ARC that I've read. And this one I actually saw on Goodreads first. It got recommended to me after I like rated a book. And I was like, oh my god. And then I saw it wasn't available, so I went on to NetGalley and I requested it. And surprisingly, I got it. I feel like this is going to be a popular one. Another arc I read recently was The Mean Ones, also a fantastic cover. This book is about this 30-ish-year-old woman who, as a child, experienced a really traumatic event. She witnessed her friends being brutally murdered while they were at summer camp, and she was hiding under the bed, so she saw it all but wasn't seen by the assailants. It's dual timeline, so it goes back and forth between her at summer camp with her friends when she was younger and her now. Currently, she is dating a really shitty man, but is comfortable in it because she knows how to tiptoe around his moods. She also kept her past a secret from him, so he has no idea. They live in a city because anytime she sees like a dead animal or trees or forest, the trees and the animals like talk to her, and it's her best friends like screaming and yelling at her for not saving them. She also hallucinates. She'll see like blood dripping down the walls and just like grotesque things, and sometimes dead animals like roadkill will like reanimate and walk towards her and like scream in the voices of her murdered friends. So things are not hot. Her therapists are like, this is PTSD, and she's like, you're a fucking idiot, I'm never coming to you again. So she is not in therapy. Which I don't love in a story like this. I'm like, it's so unrealistic that she wouldn't be in therapy. This is like affecting her life every single day and like re-traumatizing her all the time. You would be in therapy. And she's like, yeah, medication only helped a little bit, so I stopped taking it. Girl, that's so unrealistic. Anyways, I did like this book. I gave it 3 stars. It was not my favorite thing in the world. There were a few things that just drove me absolutely mad, but let me finish talking about the book. So things are not doing so hot because her boyfriend invites her to a weekend at a cabin in the woods with their friends, and she's like, oh shit, I do not want to go to a cabin in the woods. I'm gonna be traumatized and hallucinating the entire time. And that's kind of exactly what happens. It is a like thriller horror, so I'm not going to talk more about it because I'm not going to spoil it because the book is not published yet. That's so incredibly unfair. I'd probably be banned from NetGalley. But my problems with the book is that, thank you. The problem I had with this book is that it didn't feel realistic to the character. I know that everyone responds to trauma in different ways, but I do not think a person who is experiencing being re-traumatized every day would just give up on finding help for that because she hasn't been able to yet. Me personally, if that was happening, I'd kill. And I don't think it's realistic to stop taking medication because it only helped. I think it would have added another fun layer if it was like her trying another medication and trying like so hard to try to find. I think a fun layer to this book that would have made it like a bit more realistic if it was her struggling to find a therapist she worked with and her struggling to find a medication that worked for her. Another thing that I didn't love is that this book felt very YA with some like sex scenes thrown in, so it would be considered an adult book. And Tatiana, this is her first adult novel. I think it's her sophomore novel. Her first one was YA. Stunning covers on both of them. Just gonna throw that out there. Here's the other one. Every chapter ended with like a punchy sentence. I don't know if you guys remember this from YA, but the last sentence is always just like a quip. But overall, it was like fun and silly. I didn't love the ending, but if you like just like a silly thriller that's like a little bit campy, a little bit of a good for her story, this might work for you. But I wouldn't pick this up if you're not a fan of YA because it really felt YA. Editing Bailey here. I am sorry to interject, but I realized I didn't talk about my least favorite part of this book. So this was published under Creature Publishing. Their whole thing is feminist horror, which is one of the main reasons I picked it up. I've liked books by Creature Publishing before, so it felt like a safe pick. I like feminist horror. It didn't feel very feminist to portray the girl with daddy issues as promiscuous and mean because she has daddy issues. did not love that, especially because she was like 12 when she was being portrayed this way, and it was through the perspective of another 12-year-old. But because it was dual timeline, we could have had our adult main character reflect back and think, oh, she was just trying to have some semblance of control over her life after her dad abandoned the family for a new family. I don't know. It felt icky to me. I did not like that. I did not think that was feminist. I could be wrong. I don't think I am, but I could be wrong. This one is unfortunately another dud. It is 100 Years in a Day, 34 short stories. It is a translated book. This one is just like very short stories about a day in people's lives. It was just so repetitive. Every story was essentially exactly the same, and it was just like monotony is nice sometimes. And I just didn't love it. It just wasn't for me. Next one I want to talk about is Ravishing. I don't have this one on my Kobo because it was pre-integration, but I did already talk about this book in my Reading Weird Books About Beauty, if you are interested in more weird books about beauty. But this is a book about this girl who hates her father because he abandoned the family. Not a spoiler. And she's like in emotional turmoil every time she looks in the mirror because she looks so much like him. And even when he was in the family, he was not a good father. So she just hates herself and looking at herself. Her dad like completely disconnected her from her culture. She's Indian, and just didn't let her hang out with the other Indian kids, didn't let her do like traditional dance classes, didn't let her eat like traditional foods, and it's all things she wanted to. And he was just very pro assimilation. After he abandons the family, she reconnects with one of her friends she had before her father forbid them from being friends, and she introduces her to this like beauty product that will completely rearrange your face. It uses like nanoparticles. It doesn't quite make sense, but that's okay. So she gets super into this. She wants this so that she does not look like her father. It's dual POV. We also follow her brother who works at the startup. They kind of had a falling out, so they don't know. They're both like vibing with the same thing. And he also sees like the therapeutic benefit of it, of being able to make yourself look different as a form of therapy, because there's this influencer who uses the product to look like her sister who had passed, to make like the grieving process easier. So this book is very much about like culture and trauma, and not about the beauty industry whitewashing people, which is what I expected it to be. It was very much a celebration of their culture and more about trauma, which I really liked. This one I do recommend picking up. This one and The Compound were the two best ones that I read so far. Lastly, I read Little Neck. This one was by far the most disappointing. This one was pitched on NetGalley as a like lyrical poetic horror. I love that. I love like a purple prose, some flowery writing. I love that. I found it really annoying and hard to read. So one of the characters is told to be crying boulders several times throughout the book. And you might be like, big tears, duh, you dumb stupid bitch. Not quite. Sometimes, but not here. This is like a stone worker. She would make headstones. And the way it was written, you first thought it was like, oh, like she's crying and it's making like the rock dust and little pebbles that get like stuck in there because they're not doing very safe practices, like falling out of her eyes with the tears. Like, you can kind of picture that. I don't know if y'all have ever like spent time in the dirt and then your eyes start watering to get all of the dirt out. I started saying that and I thought it was gonna be relatable, and I don't think it is. For context, I farmed for like 2 years, like as my job. So yeah, maybe not a relatable example. And then it was like she cried pebbles and they turned to boulders, and it's just like, it started out as like a thing that could be really actually happening and ended up being like clearly a simile for like big tears, but like was it? Because the book was a little bit weird and I didn't think that was intentional. And there was just a lot of things like that, a lot of like 2-page descriptions of holding a flower in your hand, and not in a way that was pretty or fun to read. Also, the description just did not match the book at all. The book was about familial trauma, and isolation. And that is not how it was described. So it says this book is about a girl who tends graves under the guidance of the groundkeeper, but gets sent to work with the tombstone carvers after she was found exhuming a body. That happens on literally the first page, and there's not enough information to know that that is what happens. You're just very confused about this girl digging up a body, and like it doesn't make sense, and it made me really mad. It made me really mad because I wanted to like it. It's set in New England. I'm from New England. Just like a creepy lyrical horror. Oh my god, I had such high hopes, and it was bad. It was really bad. Those are all of the arcs I've read in like maybe the past 2 months, maybe the past month and a half, and I do have 2 more on here that I want to talk about. This one is called Happiness and Love. I picked this one up because I thought the cover was gorgeous. So this book is about this girl who ends up at this dinner party because she runs into her like old best friends and they invite her over. She's just like a normal girl doing normal career things, and these ex-best friends are like curators and they're like elite in the art world. And so she's just like so disconnected from their life and everything they're doing and like their experiences. So it's like an insufferable dinner with like rich people that are out of touch. I'm so excited. It sounds so good to me. If this is bad, I'm gonna give up on NetGalley. That's not true. If this is bad, I'm gonna be so disappointed. It has a gorgeous cover and such a fun description. Like, it can't be bad. The arc that I am currently reading is My Name Isn't Paul. Another gorgeous cover. This is about this man who, he's not really a man, he's like some parasite thing that is reanimating Paul's body and living as Paul, and he's like, no, I'm Paul, you don't understand, I am a human man and I don't like being a parasite, please just let me be a human man. And his like parasite besties are like, my guy, you have to understand you're a parasite. You have to understand that you are gonna brood soon. So you're gonna have to find or maybe kill someone and implant your little eggs so we can make more of us, bestie. And he's like, no, I'm different. I won't be doing that. I'm not like the other parasites. And it's silly. I'm only 10% in. I'm not super far into the book, but so far it's just like, again, another fun read. This isn't the normal type of book that I pick up, but because it's a short story, I was like, might as well give it a try. Worst thing that happens is I don't like it, and it's a short story. It says 2 hours to go. I don't think it'll take me 2 more hours. I've been reading this while I'm on the bus to work, so I'm like not 100% paying attention to the book. I'm reading a lot slower because I have to make sure like I get off at my stop, and if people are doing weird stuff on the bus, I want to be aware of it. City life. I love living in a city. Do not get me wrong. So those are all of the books that I've read on NetGalley so far and the few that are on my shelf that I'm working on. If you guys are interested in learning more about how I got started on NetGalley, how I go about requesting books and picking books, please let me know. I would love to do a video on that. I just feel like there are already a lot like that, so I don't know how helpful I could be, but if you guys are interested, happy to help. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see y'all next week.